Cena says, bullying that poor old dragon. Hey, hey, hey. He was the one who started bullying me. I just fought back. And now all of a sudden, I'm the bully? Damn. Also, I will get back to you on the camera. I'm sorry about that. The webcam. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Cino's probably looking for a webcam. Sorry if I shared that and you don't want people knowing about that. Let's say someone would be looking for a webcam, right? Generally, like, I'm not the biggest fan of webcams because I do feel that when it comes to cameras, like, the bigger the sensor, the more better quality they give. That's why I'm using, like full-on cameras right here to record this. But at the same time, you also got to see, like, what is the purpose for something and what do you want to make out of it, right? Like, for instance, what I found right now with doing videos, like, I've recently started doing clips videos, and these clips videos are really not well edited. They're just, like, cut down very quickly. They don't have music on them. They don't have insane zooms on them or, like, weird effects. But I'm just putting them out there. And people are kind of watching them more than they're watching the well-edited videos that take me weeks to make. So even though the well-edited videos take me weeks to make may be objectively better, for the purpose of growing a channel on YouTube, the quick edited videos are a lot better for the use case of getting it done and growing a channel. So same thing when it comes to cameras. If you just want to have a camera to stream with and put it in a corner right here or to talk with, generally some webcams can be quite okay, but a lot of webcams are also quite bad. So there were a couple of ones that I was looking at, which I can actually go ahead and show you right here. This right here used to be the king of the webcams, like the C920 or the C922. I also saw one of these, and they used to be quite good for the price at the time. Although right now there hasn't really been much improvement when it comes to the, like, there's been much more improvement than these right here. And I think that if you're looking at these webcams right here, they were better than your trash webcam. However, as you see, like, the sensor right here is really small, and the bigger the sensor is, the more light it can capture, the better the quality of the images. So this is 1080, but it's not a good 1080. So over the time, though, Logitech has improved their webcam lineup. Like, you have these right here. These were the trash tier. These were a little bit better, but they have improved. You see these things right here. I think that this right here was a 4K one, but necessarily I wouldn't really go for a 4K one like that. That is, like, still such a small sensor. However, when I was at Twitch Rivals, which let me show you this right here. If you're doubting that I was at Twitch Rivals, let me show you. I was indeed at Twitch Rivals, and I may have stolen some of their decor. But yeah, when I was at Twitch Rivals, one of the things that they did is, like, that's a big scene where you're fighting with, like, 4 or 8 teams of 4 people against each other within, like, a big show on stage. And what they need is they need computers, and they also need, like cameras to capture the streamers, and that's where they use these right here, the Streamcams from Logitech. Now these do seem to be a little bit better, like they seem to have, like, a bigger image capture size. However, from what I've seen on the reviews, it does seem to be that they focus on a couple of things, like having 2 microphones in them, which no one will ever use. They seem to have, like, image stabilization, which if it's a webcam that's stationary, no one will ever use. And it seems to be, from what I can tell, not the best camera out there. Now, what I have seen, though, is if I go to Elgato.com, Elgato is a company that is a bit pricey when it comes to streamer products, but they do make a whole bunch of streamer products. Like, basically, if you want to start, like, doing streams or doing content creation, they do make a whole bunch of things. I do have their green screen. The green screen is right behind me right here, which you can't see right now because it's a green screen, and that's supposed to go away, so actually that is quite good. So I do quite like that. I would be quite interested in getting a green screen extra large, because as you may be able to tell from this image right here, I am quite hindered right now because the green screen basically is it's not that very large. And this one right here is a bit wider, but then again, do I want to spend 200 euros just to have, like, a little bit wider green screen? I don't know. At the same time, you can just go to the store, buy a piece of cloth that's really wide for like 20 bucks, and you have a good piece of cloth as well. But then again, like, this right here, it's a little nicer in, like, the execution, the way it's, like, cleaned up. So I quite like this. But then let's say you have, like, the key lights right here. These key lights right here, they're like 180 bucks, and the lights that I have right here is like 50. And they do basically the same thing. They don't have the app functionality, so, but overall, like, I think that Elgato has some things that they're really good at. Like the Stream Deck right here, I think the Stream Deck here is one of the best things that they make, because there's nothing else like it. Like, you can make a custom keyboard, but then, like, you don't have, like, the little displays on them, so you can make a whole bunch of profiles. So I really like that. I do have one of those. But then there's also products like the lights right here, or I think the microphone right here as well. I think that the microphones, like, there are better microphones from microphone companies out there. However, I have looked at their cameras, and, like, I think their teleprompters are quite cool as well. But I have looked at their cameras, and I do think that their cameras can be quite interesting. If I go to products and cameras, it doesn't want to bring me there. There we go. And then we go to cameras. I have seen some reviews around for like the Mark II here, which have been quite decent. Especially if you compare that, like, because this right here is it's like a 1080p 60 frames a second webcam. And the thing that makes me think that this one might be a little bit better than like the Logitech one is if you look at that sensor right there. The size of the sensor is really, really important and how much light it lets in, because a lot of times when you're in a studio like this or you're in a room like this and it's lit, like there's not as much natural light coming in. So having like a big sensor is really important for low light stuff. I've also seen the Facecam Pro, which is like that gets into 4K territory, and I think the price difference between them is like $200. I don't have any experience with this one or that one necessarily, so I can't really tell you too much about it. I was actually wondering, like, maybe I should like grab a couple of them and like do a little A/B test on them. Well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of videos out there. I think personally that the 4K is something that people won't really use. Especially if it's a webcam. Like if you want to go into 4K, you probably go get a camera, like an actual camera. So yeah, like I think from what I can tell right now, I feel like the Facecam Mark II from Elgato seems to be the best streamer webcam there is out there. But that is just from me like looking around, and like this is just based on me like knowing there's like, hey, you know, there's Logitech right here. That used to be like the beloved camera right there. People used to have that one. This one seems to be the upgraded version that Twitch uses, but from the reviews that I've seen, and also the sensor size, like just look at how small that, like that's the actual sensor. It's not this, it's like that right there, compared to if you go right here to this one here. I feel that this one right here is a lot bigger. If you just could you open it up, please? Open it up for me. Open it up for me. I want to see the front of it. I hate all these shots right there that don't actually show you the direct product, but show you like all these things around. Like I want to have a 360 view of it, but I feel like this one, this one's a bit better. Like you see the sensor right there seems to be a bit bigger. So from what I can tell, I think that this right now is one of the better-ish webcams that you would go for if you want to have a webcam for streaming. Basically because Logitech and Elgato are like the two bigger companies. There is also a third option, which is a little bit outlandish, but I will still show you this. Which is called Insta360. I will be doing an Insta360 video in this moment, or like not in the moment, but soonish, whenever soon comes around, because I did get the Insta360 X3. This right here is a camera that you can place down somewhere, and it captures everything like all around you, which is really, really cool. And it's also very, very niche. Like I love it for getting B-roll shots, but filming your vacation with it hasn't been my best experience, so I'll make a video talking about it. But I have been quite pleased about it. It's kind of like a GoPro. Like a GoPro camera is not the best quality camera, but it does the job quite fine, and it does the job quite well. So like you have that right there. I'm going to make a video about it, talking about it. It's actually not affiliated, as you might think, with Instagram. I first thought that this right here was an Instagram camera, because like Insta is Instagram, as everyone knows. So like I thought it was like, when they came out, I think their very first product was a 360 camera, so I thought it was like the Instagram 360. But it wasn't. It's a completely different company. However, one thing that they do also have, aside from like these like action cameras, is they have the Insta360 Link, and they also just have a new one, the Insta360 Link 2. Now, I don't have this one yet. I don't have any experience with this. And as you can see, the sensor here is also quite tiny. However, the thing with this one is that, like, the big deal about it is that it can move around and follow you around. It's kind of like, you know, someone, like there's like a thing on a gimbal. I think that's really cool. But then again, it's also a big gimmick. It's basically if you want to walk around in the studio like I do sometimes, and basically that's something that you might be interested in. But then again, most people aren't interested in that because a lot of their cameras are just me sitting down and just me talking, and they don't move around as I speak. So why would you want this? Well, they made a new one as well, but I've seen like both reviews from like this one compared to the Elgato Facecam Pro and the Elgato Mark II, and I actually quite like the camera quality on this in the settings that I've seen. And I can understand that as well, because basically Elgato is a company of Corsair, and Corsair is like a mice making company and a keyboard making company, and you know, they make all sorts of things. And similarly, like Elgato makes a whole heap of things. Like they make lights, they make green screens, they make like things, everything, right? So webcams are just one part of the business that they make. Granted, they do make webcams for streamers, and their entire thing is being about streamers, but at the same time, how much do streamers actually know about the quality of the gear they're buying, right? You know, like they just want to have everything, and they're not necessarily experts in particular fields that they're using. So, being that this right here is a camera of a company that just happens to make cameras as one of their products, this right here is a camera company. this right here is a company that's very much focused on like making cameras in a very small form factor. So I can imagine that this camera can actually have a better delivery of video quality in this small package than Elgato can in this bigger package, because this is just one of their like side businesses, right? It's like one of their side things. So I personally might gravitate, if I had to choose between this one and this one or this one, I might personally gravitate to one of these, and I would probably go grab the, what is it, the Insta Link 2, because this right here is only $10 more than the old version, and the new version will probably be better because, you know, it's a new version. And then of course you'll have like the gimmick that it can move around, which is funny, but I do feel like if I'll just look at the differences in reviews, that this right here is a bit better in terms of video quality. But then again, I can't tell you that for sure until I actually have my hands on them and I can do a side-by-side comparison, because again, like the sensor size on this is so tiny compared to this one right here. Like like sensor size, at the end of the day, smartphone cameras are great and all, but they'll never like match an actual DSLR, just because they're squeezing light for such a tiny hole. Like you can't make that out. So yeah, I can't make a really hard recommendation about which webcam I would recommend if you want to start streaming, basically, or which webcam I would recommend to Drew in case if you want to you know, upgrade from your Logitech one. But I think it would, like, for me, it would narrow down somewhere between, like, if you can find one of these secondhand, or maybe like the Mark II webcam. Like a lot of times, like one thing that you also have is like secondhand markets. A lot of people just start streaming for fun, get one of these webcams, and then stop streaming, and then they sell them. So, you know, there'll probably be a couple of comparison videos between them. I know a bunch of streamers have reviewed these right here recently. Because, you know, this just came out and it's like a big streamer webcam, because, oh man, you know, streamer cams that can follow you around, like a lot of people like to show that off. But at the same time, these are also the people that have the well kitted out studios. And one thing that I don't really like all that much about Insta360 is that they sponsor a lot of streams. Now, why would I say that I don't like it that Insta360 sponsors a lot of videos or streams, even though I myself am a content creator? I mean, like, it's great that they're supporting the community, but the problem is that if you go and look for reviews, for instance, for the Insta360, or you go and look for reviews of these things right here, it is all people with, like, an affiliate link, with, like, this was sent to me, this was shipped to me, this was sponsored. And for me, that always puts a little bit of a doubt behind me in my head. It's like, okay, so what is your incentive? Is this a sponsored thing? Because people usually can be very, very unclear as to whether they're doing an actual review, where they're putting it side by side, or whether they're just saying, oh man, this looks so cool, this looks so good. For example, I believe that if you look for the Insta360 X3 video from Marcus Brownlee on his channel, that right there is just a sponsor piece. And there is a difference between the sponsor piece and a review, because a sponsor piece will just be like, hey, you know, this looks cool on this thing, and, you know, it does something good, and it looks nice, but it doesn't really tell you anything about the quality, and they're not going to be very critical about it. Right there, first link, buy it. Check out my affiliate link, right there. This right here would actually probably be the best comparison video you can make. What do we have right here? We do have 2 referral links, but they do seem to be like personal links, and probably like Amazon links. Actually, this right here could be a good video. Yeah, I found one. I found one that I like from just like what I can see, because basically what I can tell a lot of times, what we've seen is, yeah, a lot of sponsored reviews that aren't really necessarily reviews. But yeah, basically, if you want to see what I do, I would recommend this comparison between the two, because what you have right here is the best that Elgato has to offer. Especially if you consider like going for the Mark II, the Facecam Pro is going to be better than the 2 because it's 4K. So if you already like, if you feel like this quality image is worse compared to that one, then you're really not going to like the Mark II. And similarly, like this Insta360 right here, that's the Mark I. So if you like this image already, you're going to get, like, you get a Mark II, will probably be better. But yeah, anyway. So also Nutty right here, he seems to be a pretty decent streamer as well, that does reviews. And he puts them all side by side, so that's also something I would recommend. But yeah, anyway, that is basically my webcam recommendation. Kind of like a bit of a side tangent, but yeah, Xeno was interested, and I promised him I would get back to him by Sunday, and I didn't. And yeah, I guess I got back to you on stream right now. Xeno says, ooh, I hadn't considered them secondhand. Well, I hope the secondhand market will give you something good, because there's a lot of good things secondhand.